Sheikh Abu Usamah al-Dhahabi, Jazahullahu Khaira, came all the way from England, Birmingham, England. We welcome him here, and he's going to address the addiction to pornography. أعاذنا الله وإياكم منها. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. تفضل شيخ.
كم عندي من الوقت؟
ممكن زي ما تحب إن شاء الله، يعني نصف ساعة، 35 دقيقة، 40، كما تحب إن شاء الله.
اوكي.
لن نوقفك.
حياكم الله.
Do you mind if we call the adhan now?
لا.
So we're going to call the adhan now. Huh? Okay. So we're going to call the adhan now, and then pray dhuhr after that. And after dhuhr, you'll take a little break, and then we're going to have Brother Daniel last session, inshallah. And then we're going to join the rest of the crowd, inshallah. So, who's going to call the adhan? This father. Over here?
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آل محمدا وسيل فضيلة وبعثوا مقام محمود الذي وعدته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. First of all, it's hot up in this joint. And I don't know about you guys because you're all sitting there and I'm sweating. So we want to ask the organizers, can we bust open them doors or get some circulation up in the spot? Can we bust open them doors, these exit doors or something like that? Organizers, help us out. There's a hadith the Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إن ابن آدم إذا أصابه برد قال حس وإذا أصابه حر قال حس the son of Adam, if it's cold, he's going to complain. He'll say hiss. If it's hot, he's going to complain. So the Muslim is the person who just tries to deal with the situation and not be a person who just complains unnecessarily. He has sabr jameel, but that's concerning things he or she doesn't have the ability to change. We have the ability to change this situation, I hope. Right? Because when it gets hot, people complain about the heat. No one can change that. Just have to deal with it. Second thing I want to mention is, since I came yesterday, when I first came up in here, when I first came up in here, I witnessed this takbir issue, the takbir issue. From what I understand, this takbir issue should be avoided. Maybe you brothers have a point of view that I need to hear about. I don't have a problem with that. Because the religion of Al-Islam, we don't have intellectual terrorism like we've been experiencing for the last years that has divided the roles and the ranks of Salafis. I see the niqab as being not wajib, and he sees it as being wajib, and as a result of that, we're enemies to one another. One of the reasons why I'm considered public enemy number one to the extreme ghulat is because from day one, being exposed to the madrasa of Sheikh Al-Albani, we saw and we learned that we don't make that mad taqleed of any sheikh. We used to make it haram upon our brothers and sisters to make taqleed of Al-Imam Ahmed, Al-Imam Malik, Abu Hanifa, and other than them. And then now, in this time, we make it wajib upon people to make taqleed of 2 or 3 scholars from the same area, from the same country. Hey hat. So now I look in front of me and we have this new generation of Salafi Shabab who missed those golden years, I like to call them, when a Salafiyya was spreading and the brotherhood of Salafiyya was spreading. And there was a level of, rahmah between the brothers. You take that position, I take this position, and we keep it moving because it's ijtihad. And why get upset? When I heard the takbirs yesterday, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to come across as being, a person who gives dawah the wrong way. When we're going to make al-amru bil ma'ruf and al-nahy an al-munkar, we got to do it the right way. We can't create a bigger problem, but it continued throughout the day. I saw it a few times. I came here now, it's still going on. And wallahi, I'm not trying to put anybody down. No, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But the haqq is more beloved to us than anything else, and we maintain and preserve the brotherhood. So the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is from ibadah. Udhkuruni adhkurkum washkuruni wa la takfurun. Make the dhikr of me, Allah said, and I'll remember you. Be grateful and thankful to me, and don't be disbelievers. So the ibadah in Al-Islam is tawqifiyya. We only do it in the way that it has been legislated. So when we come and we say to people, look, Jum'ah Mubarak and all of these other things that are prevalent right now, I don't believe we should turn the dunya upside down and fight people and cut their heads off over issues like this. Like that young brother, Al-Amin. Is Al-Amin here? The young brother from yesterday about the pen and all that? We have big fish to fry and big nuts to crack. And we have to make what's big, big, and make what's small, small. So we're not going to make an issue bigger than what is necessary. But from as-Salafiyya is us having the ability to have ikhtilaf with adab. And that's what happened with the companions. Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. So we claim something, but doing it is another thing. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. Oh, you believe, why is it that you say that which you don't do? It's a bad thing in the sight of Allah that you say what you don't do. Actions speak louder than words. My mom Dukes, I love that lady. I love the ground she walks on. I wanted to become a Muslim. So I have to give a bitter wadi dain. I can stand behind this mic all day long screaming. I love my moms. I love my moms. If I'm not giving a dawah and so on, then my claim is suspect. So if anybody has something else, I'm here, I'm all ears, inshallah. I think we should stop that until, inshallah, the issue becomes clear. And that's not putting anybody down, not at all. Second of all is the brother old head brought me these tissues just now. Just want to acknowledge the presence of all the old heads that are in the house. The brothers who I remember from the 90s, them and their wives and so forth and so on. Good to see you still alive and kicking with this corona and all that kind of stuff. The dunya has changed. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to give everybody prosperity and longevity, and that He causes all of us to check out on the kalima of Tawheed, and that we are a group of people who have ikhlas, and we put the Prophet over everybody else as it relates to sallallahu alaihi wasallam al-ittiba'. The other thing that I want to mention, and this is the last thing, it's very common that when the adhan goes off, people are quiet. The Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you hear the mu'adhin, then say what the mu'adhin says. Because whoever says what the mu'adhin says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will make intercession for you yawm al-qiyamah. The adhan is from the most important dhikr in al-Islam. It's from the sha'air of al-Islam. ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فِإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Whoever exalts the institutions of Allah, of the religion, is a sign of taqwa. To exalt the masjid, to exalt the hijab, the jilbab, to exalt the qibla of al-Islam by not spitting towards it, urinating towards it, defecating towards it. Akramakumullah. The sha'air, those things that we're known for, Muslims. The khitan, the aqiqah. It's from our deen. And right now, al-Islam is fading away. And some of us help to do that. So what we have to do is we have to be the people who are trying to make jihad, the jihad of Islam, not the fasad of Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Shabab of Somalia, ISIS, and all of those extremists. No, the real jihad of al-Islam. So it's jihad that on our watch, we're going to say, this is not going to get stolen. And then we have those hadith where we mention them in classes and we know about the importance of the sunnah. The Prophet told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're going to see a lot of ikhtilaf. So follow my sunnah. He said, Abdu alayha bin nawajib. Hold on to the sunnah with your molars. We all know that. But the adhan will come and go, and we don't, la yuharriku sakina. We just let it go. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, take care of these basic things, and the big things will take care of themselves. Take care of the little bitty things, and the big things can get. This is why I was always bugged out and freaked out in the UK. Our jihad in the UK is much different than here. The Muslims have a big presence in the UK. But our shabab want to blow stuff up. Our shabab, they want to go out and they want to do something, and we keep telling them, calm down and pump your brakes. Take it easy. Al-Khilafa. Wallahi, it's the responsibility of every Muslim to have and want the desire to establish a khilaf of al-Islam in the earth. But it's kalam farik screaming the khilafah. Kalam farik. The Sheikh al-Albani, who we don't make taqleed of, make it haram for the Imam of al-Islam, make it haram to make taqleed of Abu Bakr or Umar by themselves. Then we come and say, you must make taqleed of al-Albani. He used to say from the words of wisdom, you people, if you establish the khilafah in your homes, Allah will establish it in the earth. I say it again. You establish the khilafah in your home, Allah will establish it in the earth. So over there, a lot of the brothers with the political Islam, Hizb ut-Tahrir, other than that, khilafah. I remember on the BBC, they asked the leader of that group, and I'm going to get to the point, inshallah, to my lesson, but I think it's important. They asked that man, if we allowed you to establish a khilaf in the UK, what's the first thing you're going to do? The man had the nerve and the audacity to say, first thing we're going to do, any woman who doesn't wear hijab, we're going to establish the had on her and kill her. As soon as I heard that, I said, this cat is either Majnoon or he's working for the feds. Because no one in his right mind thinks like that. And the had in al-Islam for tabarruj is not the had, is not to kill anyone. So anyway, ikhwani, take care of the small things. So the adhan, some people just make the dua, but actually you should make the durood al-sharif on al-Mustafa al-Mukhtar first. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. And then you make the dua. Remember that. Remember that. Whoever makes that dua, the Rasul, inshallah, will come Yawm al-Qiyamah and he will have intercession for you. You may deserve to go to the hellfire. A'adhan Allah minha jami'a. You may deserve to go. But because you made this dhikr, you don't go. You don't go. As it relates to the issue of addiction to pornography, let me just say, ibtida'in, a few things I want to share with you brothers. I really didn't look up this issue, and it's an important issue. I know some statistics and some information, ma'lumat, that I've heard, like the countries that have the most hits on porno sites are in the Arab world. So this Islamophobic interpretation that Europeans have, white people have, not all of them, is that Arabs are sex-crazed maniacs. And one of the proofs that they use is these kinds of statistics. So that's a big problem because in the Arabian culture, Allah didn't choose the Arabs abathan. The Arabs have some virtues in al-Islam. And as you all know, I'm a very proud African American. I'm a Muslim first, as the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Islam ya'la wa la yu'la alayhi. Al-Islam is uppermost, and nothing goes over Islam. So I'm a Muslim who's African American. I'm a Muslim who's a doctor. I'm a Muslim who's flipping burgers at Burger King. I'm a Muslim who's the postman, first and foremost. I'm a Muslim before I am whatever, right? But it doesn't negate the fact that I don't have to be an Arab. I'm not trying to be an Arab. Don't superimpose upon me Saudi Arabia. I remember when I became a Muslim back in the day, I'm looking for the truth, and I met some brothers from Jamaat Tabligh. I tried to fit in with them. The African Americans who were on that way, they used to speak broken English like, Pakistanis. I was like, he was saying, brother. I was like, what are you talking to me like that from? Man, we come from the projects, man. We talking about brother. So we don't have to take on some other group of people's stuff. Just stay who you are with your own taqaleed, your taqaleed, your adat, your own customs. We all have good customs and bad customs. African Americans, we have a lot of positive things, but we have a lot of negative things as well that we have to discard. We have to get rid of those things. Anyway, this issue of this information, I know some of that stuff, but I didn't look all of that up. Which brings me to this point, and that is, there were some brothers who are really competent and qualified with certain information. In the UK, during this time, we have a lot of these types of dorat going on. So I did one in Manchester. I just went for one day. And they invited a brother who was an expert on sex education, something that's overwhelming us in the UK. Your little child is being exposed to that. I don't know all of the information about that. So for them to invite me to talk about that, I'm not the man for that job. We invited him. And he's not really Salafi as such. And then the brother started jumping up and down. Why didn't he not Salafi? You can't. Come on, brother, what's wrong with you? This man is going to introduce the community to information that we need to know. And Salafi people don't have all of the answers. The justice of the Sheikh Muhammad ibn Uthaymeen, rahmatullah alayhi, and that was a different time. That was a time when I became a Muslim, we saw mountains of knowledge who knew how to deal with issues. Now we have situations where people have ulterior motives. We've been divided by people. Anyway, from his justice, he said, all of these groups, and I believe in this, Udin Rabbi Bihada, all of these groups are a problem. Jamaat, all of these groups, Ikhwan, Tabligh, Sufi, Hizb ut-Tahrir, and the group of people who call themselves Salafis as a group. We love you and we hate you based upon your connection to the group. He said all of them have some part of Islam and all of them have mistakes. He said the closest of them to the truth are those who call themselves Salafis, but we don't have all of the answers. And that's why we have to have from amongst you brothers some people who are going to go into the medical field. Some of you have to go into economics. Some of you have to go into education. Everyone can't go to Medina. Everyone can't go to Medina. وَلِكُلٍّ وَجْهَةٌ هُوَ مُوَلِّيهَا فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Everyone has his path. If everybody went to the Medina University, our ummah will fall down, and Allah knows best. We have to have that tanoa. So that brother coming here to talk about this, mashallah. Someone who's an expert in this coming to talk about, mashallah. Our brother Daniel Hakikatu. I call him Hakikatu. Brother was telling me, no, it's Hakika Hachu. I said, Hachu isn't there? He said, yeah, Hakika Hachu. I started asking people, they said, it's not his name. I said, I'm just stick with Daniel Hakikatu. You know what I'm talking about. That brother comes here to talk about something specific that he's an expert in, inshallah. And perfection is only with Allah. Our religion is a religion where we love for each other what we should love for ourselves. We don't let people throw rocks at other people and we just believe that stuff. No, kalla. Would you like people dealing with you like that? The time has come for us to stop being boys, stop playing checkers, because the world is playing chess. They're playing hard ball. And we playing softball, messing around. So what I will say as it relates to this is you guys can go back to the internet, find out that information about this addiction to porno, because it is a problem. As parents, I would say this. My family, they're on top of this stuff, you know. You have to do the internet, the Wi-Fi. There's some parental stuff you have to know what you're doing, you know. So our wives, all of us, we have to be on that, on top of that, so our kids don't have access to it because wallahi billahi tallahi, it is at everybody's disposal. So your little baby girl who is growing up and you want her to have iffa, you want her to have afad, izz and sharaf, and she wants that too. But ragam anfiha, despite her, it's going to come to her. It's going to come to her. It's on TV, it's in school. Even if you're on top of your daughter, even if you're on top of her, she's going to go to school, whether it's Islamic school or other than that, and she's going to be exposed to it. That's why I always tell my kids, just tell me the truth, because I've been around. I know what time it is. I've been around. But I noticed and I realized, nah, it's a new generation. I don't know everything. When I come here, I have to get on people's hot spot because I'm off the grid. When I come here, I'm off the grid. In the hotel, I'm on the grid. When I come here, I have to ask somebody, can I get on the hot spot? He give me the hot spot, I have to give him my phone. I don't know what I'm doing because I'm old school still. I'm old school. As it relates to this issue, let me say first of all, everybody sitting here, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has brought us a religion that has explained everything about Ibn Adam's characteristics. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَنَزَّلْنَا مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We revealed to you this book, this Quran, and it explains everything you need to know. I don't need Westerners. I don't need Americans. I don't need Republicans. I don't need anybody coming to tell me about animal rights. because my religion told me all about that. I don't have a problem with teaching sex education. I even say to people who are traditional Muslims, you know, from the countries that they come from, when your boy turns a certain age, the father just comes with a Mac 3 razor and just leaves it on the bed. And the boy looks at the razor and be like, well, what's that all about? The father expects him to know he has to take his pubic hairs off. You know, you got to sit that boy down and school him. You got to take your daughter, and you have to school her. And you have to tell your children straight up. Anybody ever touch you inappropriately? Anybody bully you? Anybody? We can't leave our kids to learn this stuff in the street. So if we don't have time to educate our children and to address these issues and to talk to their minds and their spirit, then rest assured the internet has time to destroy them, and that's what will happen. So, Ibn Adam, if it's hot, he's going to complain. If it's cold, he's going to complain. That's from his nature. وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَكْثَرَ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. The human being, more than any other thing, he is argumentative. Argumentative. This is his nature. The wife is argumentative, the husband is argumentative, you got to get the last word. People are like that. You tell something to someone, he wants to argue with you. So the Quran and the Sunnah has given us everything we know about ourselves. Listen to what Allah's Rasul told us about pornography. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Kutiba ala ibn Adam hadduhu min az-zina wa huwa mudrikun dhalika la mahala. فالعين زناها فالعين تزني وزناها النظر والأذن تزني وزناها السمع والفرج يصدق ذلك أو يكذبه. Listen to this. Zina has been written al-qadr, kutiba, with the color. Zina has been written upon every single son and daughter of Adam. He's going to fall into it, and there's no way out of it. Everybody's going to fall into it. He said the eyes make zina, and the zina of the eyes is looking at it. The girl walking down the street, and she's looking the way she's looking, pornography, TV, looking in magazines, whatever. People are not having clothes. He said the ears make zina, and the zina of the ears is to listen to Cardi B and all of those rappers and all of these songs that are out here, and to listen to people who talk about that stuff. He said, and then your private part either makes the tasdiq of that or the takdeeb, meaning the person falls into the zina. But everybody's making zina. There's a person in here who's the most knowledgeable. There's a person in here who has the most taqwa. There's a person in here who's going to die before everybody else. May Allah Azza wa Jal cause us to die in a tawheed. Whoever the most knowledgeable with the most taqwa is going to make zina. Now listen, ya ikhwani. You know one of the reasons why we shouldn't go overboard with the shuyukh is because they're the sons of Adam. They're the sons of Adam. You're going overboard in a person who commits zina. He makes mistakes. كل ابن آدم خطاؤون وخير خطائين التوابون. All of Adam's children make mistakes. All of them. And the best of those who make mistakes are the ones who make tawbah. So we respect people who are older. That's why I acknowledge the old heads. You guys see these brothers walking around with these beards. They're moving kind of slow and gingerly. Give them some respect and love. Let them sit on a chair. Open up the door for him and her. Get them some coffee. These were your predecessors. So we respect people because of their age and their knowledge, because Islam respected them. But don't go overboard. When I was saying that thing about the takbir, it reminded me of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim, who whenever he wanted to go against his Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah in a mas'ala, he would say, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah is my Habib, I love him, but the haqq is more loved to me than him. And then he go and tell what he differs with him in. Don't be like that, overboard. So everybody's going to fall into zina. And that's why we have to perpetually make at-tawbah and istighfar. But the zina of the eyes and the ears, there's no had for that. It's the zina that the private parts make come true. That's the had. That's the first point we wanted to make. Everybody's fallen into this stuff. Everybody. So we have to make jihad. The Prophet, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-mujahid alladhi jahada nafsuhu fi dhatillahi. The real mujahid is the one who makes jihad against his nafs as it relates to Allah's rights and Allah's religion. So we have to be mujahidun, inshallah. And when the time comes for the other jihad that has its time, its place, its ahkam, its adab, its people, its fiqh, then we don't apologize for anything about the deen of al-Islam from A to Z. It's the religion. And that's what today's theme is about. The theme is about stay on the path. Don't acquiesce. Start doing the bojangles and shuffling and tap dancing for people. Stay on our deen. We don't apologize about anything about our, hey, jihad. Look, oh, you mean being on a diet? Yeah, jihad on a diet. Ain't talking about being on no diet, which it is a form of jihad, but I ain't talking about that. So we bite our tongues for no one. There's a time and a place and ahkam and adab. And the way the brothers are doing it across the globe, I say to you young people, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Second thing that we want to mention, Ikhwani, is the fact that pornography is from the major sins in al-Islam, and it's from the major sins because Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned it in the Quran. When he praised his servants, the people who are true believers, and they are the Ibadur Rahman, those people who worship Allah Azza wa Jalla correctly, Allah praised them. And he said, الَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مُلُومِينَ فَمَنْ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. Allah praised them. And from the Ibadur Rahman, the real ones, not kalam, this kalam, the man came and said, Ya Rasulullah, tell me something about Islam. I can only ask you and nobody else. Only you. He said, قُلْ آمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. Say I believe in Allah and then be upright. Talk about it and then be about it. Don't just give us kalam. There's a position of kalam. If one of you loves your brother, Rasulullah said, tell him. Like my man right here. I got love for this brother. He stood out yesterday. Caught my attention. I said, this cat must be from Uzbekistan. Then he said, nah, I ain't from Uzbekistan, man. It's from somewhere else. Anyway, the point is, you have to tell your wife, I love her. How you ain't gonna tell your wife you love her? Those of you who didn't make Hajj or Umrah, when you make Hajj or Umrah with your wife, you grab her by a hand. Every time you go around the Kaaba, you make those du'as. If they can go around the Kaaba, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. When you come to the black stone, you grab her hand, you say, I love you, girl. He's laughing because you ain't got that romance. You tell her, I love you, and I appreciate you giving me this baby. That's how you keep the numbers. What number you on? Thank you for giving me that baby. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for supporting me. I know I've been a knucklehead. And she says back to you, I know, Daddy. Let's get back to the point. Let's get back to the point. Get serious, man. Get serious. But I'm serious. Allah said in this ayat, the Ibadur Rahman, the real servants, the mu'mineen, they are those people who protect their private parts. They keep them protected. They keep them covered up. They don't share them with nobody. Nobody from the opposite sex and nobody from the same sex. Absolute. Unless they're the people who they're married to. What their right hands possess. And the right hand possession were the slaves of that time before. Right hand possession is not the girlfriend, the honey over here, your side chick. This is not what Allah was. Allah didn't reveal any ayat about the side chick. No ayat like that. It's zina right now. So they only have relationships with their wives. They have relationships with their right-hand possession. Allah said, those people, there's no who have gone beyond the limits. You've gone beyond the limits. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَمَن يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ. Anyone who goes beyond the hudud of Allah, he has oppressed himself. Stay within the hudud, the sirat al-mustaqim. إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْغُلُوبِ. Don't go overboard in your love, in your hatred. أَحْبِبْ حَبِيبَكَ عَوْنٍ مَا عَسَى أَن يَكُنْ بَغِيضَكَ يَوْمٍ مَا. Love the one you love moderately. The day may come, he becomes your enemy. Stay balanced and don't go out of the hudud. So this ayah goes to show, if a person is not with his wife or his husband, then you had, or your right hand possession, you went outside. What about pornography, sharing it with your wife or your husband? Haram. Haram. Because it's beyond the hudud as well. And what man wants to look at that with his wife and vice versa? There's something wrong with the situation, something wrong with it. So it's a major sin, and it should be avoided, and you have to make jihad on it. And I tell you this, for any young person, if you get caught in the grasp of pornography, it's a problem. It's like, if you could imagine the talons on those eagles, or those falcons, them big ones I'm talking about, the ones that can pick up the mountain goats. You know, they pick up those falcons, them big, and it's haram to eat those kind of birds, the ones who have those falcons. That's how pornography is. Once it grabs you, you're in trouble, because now dysfunction sets in. You start suffering from all kinds of diseases, or psychological issues, where now what is halal for you, like your wife, you may not be able to do anything. It is a problem from all of the angles. So it's something that no doubt Al-Islam is against it. Listen, our religion is religion, as I told you. It explained to us our nature. Young people having shahwa and desires, Allah knew what he was doing. Young people have shahwa. Everybody has shahwa. As you get older, it gets less and lesser, normally. So the man came, the young man. The people were sitting with the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The man sat in front of everybody, showing his ikhlas. He said, Ya Rasulullah, idhan li fi zina. Give me permission to make zina. He said that in front of all of the people. His uncles, the elderly people, his tribe, Abu Bakr Umar, awliya of Allah. Ya Rasulullah, give me permission to make zina. Look at this salaf, look at the companions, how they dealt with the jahil, how they dealt with the youngster, how they dealt with them. They were human beings. When the Bedouin urinated in the masjid, they were getting ready to jump on him. He urinated and put najasa in Rasulullah's masjid. The knee-jerk reaction to that is, what's wrong with you? But that's the aqliya of the Bedouin. So the aqliya of the young man is he or she, he is struggling with his desires. We used to say, I was going to say we used to say in America. That's what we say in the UK. We say in America. I just realized I am in America right now. We used to say way back in the day, the young man is feeling his Cheerios. And that's what that boy was doing. Ya Rasulullah, give me permission. Everybody was shocked. Couldn't believe it. They were not happy with that. Fahisha. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, come here, come here, come here. You want people to do that to your mother? He said, A'udhu billah. You want people to do that to your sister? A'udhu billah. You want people to do that to your auntie, your amma, your father's sister, to your mother's sister? He said, Kadhalika nas. The people don't want you doing it to their people. None of you truly believes you love for yourself what you love for your brother. So as you sit there, we have to think about that stuff. The Prophet took the young man and hugged the young man and made dua for the young man and let him go. and that stuff left him with the dua of the righteous. That's the ta'aleem of the Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't know what's wrong with some of the people today who are giving dawah, and all they are is sour grapes. Sour grapes? May Allah break your back. Oh man, that one again. Break my back, man. I can't work now. I can't pick up my baby now. I can't drive anymore. You done jammed up the whole program, brother. Why don't you say Allah yahdik? Why don't you give me that dua? That's how the Prophet dealt with people most of the time. Another thing I want to mention, ikhwani, and then I'm done here, inshallah. Sheikh, hal tajawazna al-waqt? Tajawazna, huh? Last thing that I want to mention, inshallah, ikhwani, and this is really important for those of us who have daughters. I do believe we have to be balanced and we have to be fair with our children, but we give tarbiyah to our daughters in a different way. The way we chastise and deal with our boys is different. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna min ash-shajari shajaratan la tasqutu warquha wa innama mathaluha mathalul mu'min. There is a tree that resembles the believer. Its leaves don't fall off that tree. And that tree, he said, is like the believer. He said the date palm tree. The date palm tree is like the believer in that all dates are not the same. You get Ajwa dates from Medina. You get those Sukri dates. You get those dates, you know, when I'm over here from Morocco and Tunis. And then you get the dates from where a lot of the brothers from West Africa, mashallah. So a group of brothers from West Africa, Abdul Shakur, and my man Abdul Malik. They said they came with about 20 people here, mashallah, West Africa representing. You get the dates from West Africa, they break your teeth off. Those real hard joints. You know what I'm talking about? Them real hard ones. They break your teeth. All dates are not the same, and our children are not the same. Like the date palm tree. So as it relates to our daughters, the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, an-nisa'u shaqa'iqur rijal. Women, the females, the women, they're the twins to the men. Everything that men go through, everything that happens to men happens to women. So the young man is feeling his Cheerios and he's hot and he has the itch. Can't sleep on that same issue being present in the girl. It's natural. Allah created us like that. So don't sleep on your daughter's tarbiyah, and don't sleep on having saraha and talking to her straight up and down like 6 o'clock. None of that kalam like this, isharat. None of that kalam. Qulu qawlan sadida. Straight up. You gotta let them know. We've been there. Don't do that. You will change the course of your life. That boy, if he does that, he could just drop everything and go somewhere else and leave it all together. You, on the other hand, you're gonna have to deal with luggage because of that decision of yours. So for those of you who are parents, I say we have to do a serious job, ikhwani, and that's why I say, listen, we have big fish to fry. Our kids, our babies that inherit this religion. In 5 more years, normative Islam, we're going to have a woman giving the adhan. By the way, that brother who's the mu'adhin, good job, brother, mashallah. That was a good adhan. I like that adhan. We're going to stop here, inshallah, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his tawfiq and al-thabat and al-sadad. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. So listen, we're going to kill that takbir. We're going to kill that takbir. You kill that takbir, all right? Assalamu alaikum. I love you, man.
That's how Abu Usamah is, how we know him and how we're going to sustain him. You know, you have to sustain him this way. This is Abu Usamah al-Dhahabi. I known him for years, alhamdulillah.